routine maintenance, you can break it down into brakes, engine, gearbox, and basically, because you haven't got any rear suspension, just front end running gear. So on your engine, you've got your plug gaps, so you pop your plugs out, measure them with a feeler gauge to your specifications, whatever bike it may be. You've got your points gap, rotate the engine till it's on the highest part of the lobe, check your points gap. On a Harley it's 21 thou. Obviously the older bikes, they're all different. On a Magneto I think they're 12 thou. Yeah, that's just a basic. Check those, you know you're right, yeah? If she's rattling away, on a Harley you undo these and you adjust your tappets, which is your valve clearances. Make sure that they're all as per factory settings. Carburetor may need adjusting on these, you adjust them as you're going along, you know, but you can on your amyl carbs and things like that, just sit them, get it set up, and that's just a basic routine maintenance thing because they all go out of tune. On a Harley you've got all your grease nipples, so any grease nipples you can find, there's one under there, you have to take the seat pin out, flip it up. Yeah, anywhere there's a greasing point, just like once every 1,000 miles or something, just one pump with a grease gun just to keep them topped up. Yeah, that's it really for engine wise. Obviously if there's any horrible knocks or bangs or anything you have to address them, but normally you know the bike's running okay. It's just your like I say, routine maintenance, doing your tappets. Right, your brakes, obviously make sure all your brakes are working. You've got adjustment on that rod there on a Harley. So you take that clevis pin out if your brakes, if your pedal's right on the floor, you wind it in that way and that'll bring your pedal up. Chain, make sure your chain's not too tight, not too loose.
What would you say is too tight and what's too loose?
You want about 20 mil there. Different on a bike with suspension, you have to sit on the bike,
yeah,
and then do your chain adjustment. Tyre pressures, check them. Should do them really every time you go out, especially on older stuff, you know, because they can go down.
How do you know what the pressure should be on the tyre? Is it printed on the tyre itself?
No. It'll just be in the owner's handbook or whatever, okay, whatever bike it is specified to that. Front brake again, which is adjustable on a Harley on that adjuster there. So you undo your lock nut. If you want it looser, you wind that up that way. If you want it tighter, you wind it back down that way. Major adjustment on the brakes. You've got, see that bolt there? You undo that, and that's got a serrated plate on the back. So basically, if you loosen that off, get somebody to hold the brake in as hard as you can, and then tighten that back up. That will centralise the shoes in the hub.
Yeah.
Then you go to your adjustment on your cable side. Again, grease points that are all over it. You've got a grease point on your cables there, on your suspension there, just to get some grease into the springs. Clutch adjustment, you can check that. You basically take those two screws out of there, got a 9/16 lock nut. So you undo your lock nut, put a flat screwdriver in, and make sure on your clutch arm you've just got a little bit of play there. Then you tighten up your lock nut. Check your wheel bearings, they can be greased. You've got a grease nipple on the inside of the hub. Check all your wheel nuts are done up these. On a WLC you've got that on the front as well, but not on a WLA. Grease point on the seat post, like I say, you pop that pin out and then you can grease that one, because obviously all of that moves up and down as you ride. Make sure your ride controls are all okay. Everything's moving freely. Make sure that's working, which is your steering dampener. Quite important, a lot of people forget to do it and they wear very quickly. See this shackle arm? That goes from there back to there. So obviously as your suspension goes up and down, if that wasn't pivoted there and there, your brake would lock up.
Okay.
So that has to move with it. If you watch it. See it? Malcolm's one, this bike is good. You can hear it. It doesn't clonk. Normally, all of those bushes and the pins are worn out on Harleys. All of that lot there. You can rebush this arm and you can re-pin the hub and you can re-pin this. But make sure you grease those. You get other Harleys, you'll ride it, pull the brake and it'll go clonk because all the bushes are taken up.
Yeah.
That's quite important to grease those. Obviously check your oil level. Got a dipstick in there.
So where's the dipstick?
In there.
Ah.
You just check your oil level on that with the bike upright and just generally go over it, check for leaks.
Do you check the oil when it's cold or when it's warm?
Run them, then leave them for a bit, let it all settle back down and then check them. You've got oil in your air filter. A lot of people don't run oil in them anyway, but if you want to run oil in it, check that. You've got side cover here. You can take that off and check the tension of your primary chain. You don't want that too loose because it can rattle and bang up against these. Hence, see, that one's been repaired.
Again, what sort of tolerance on?
You want about... What you've got to do with those is get it up on the rear stand, put it in gear with the plugs out, and rotate it because they'll always have a tight spot on them.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the way the gearbox works and the clutch is mounted. Tightest you want it is probably move it up and down 1/8 of an inch, and then you'll find it will have a loose spot then, but it won't be frantically loose.
Yeah.
It's just general running over. I mean, if you think anything's loose or rattly, give it a quick whip round with the spanners and tighten it up, you know. But if you ride one, then you'll know when something's loose, you know. And that's your headstock cup, the base one, and that's your top cup, and they're your bottom cups. You put your finger on that, rock the bike, and you can feel where there's any movement in it.
Okay.
So if there's movement in it, you take your top plate off, take that nut off, and just wang around a bit. You've got serrated under there, because there's a pin in there that locks it. Exhausts on these always come loose. So again, it's just a quick whip round, a visual, check anything out that you think is bad, nip it back up.
Next week on The Workshop.